What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm your host, John Walker, and this week was a pretty important week for Northwest sports all around. To kick things off, the football team took on Central Missouri for Senior Day, and the Cats came out strong in the first half and were able to put themselves in the lead that they would keep for the rest of the game. The team finished the day 45-23, and that win was good enough for the program's 30th MIAA championship. And it wouldn't be a football game without them, so as always, we were there to catch the highlights. All right, guys, so the day started for Northwest off a turnover on the first play of the game, and then here is the first offensive play for the Bearcats. Caden Davis with the reception inside of the 10-yard line, and that set up the first touchdown of the day on this 8-yard carry from Justin Rankin. That was the first of 2 rushing from Rankin on the day. He even had one called back from a penalty. And then one interception came on the first play. Trey Washington gets his second interception of the game right there from the apparent best quarterback in the MIAA, Brooke Bowles. Here Bowles goes again, trying to stay away from that Bearcat D-line, ends up fumbling the ball. Brody Buck picks it up and is on the return. He's swarmed by a pack of mules, and then you see Trey Washington right there. He did not play last week, a guy that had 2 interceptions, and that touchdown right there in the game against the Mules. Another one right here, Jackson Barnes with the pick, and as he runs away with that one, the Cats ran away with the win. The team will be back in action on Saturday for the first round of the playoffs, which we will go into more detail right after the break. With that being said, stick around. We've got a full breakdown for Northwest football coming up. You're watching Bearcat Update on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I am not in my lonesome today. I am joined by Andrew Wegley, who is here to talk about the obvious behind us, which is Northwest's playoff picture. We mentioned a little bit before the break, but now the Bearcats have solidified as the 3 seed in Super Region 3. They will get a first-round matchup against Harding in Maryville in Bearcat Stadium this Saturday. So Andrew Wegley, I guess just taking a look at the bracket overall, did anything surprise you from Super Region 3 that we got here?
Well, I think the big thing we saw was that Henderson dropped out of the top 8, but that's what happens when you lose games late in the season. And then Lindenwood, a former member of the MIAA, who was really a middle-of-the-pack team last season in the MIAA, they jump ship, they leave the conference, and suddenly they're in the playoffs. So really speaks to the toughness of the league that Northwest plays in. But other than that, I mean, Ferris State being the number 1 was no surprise, and then UCM sticking around in that 4 spot, able to host a playoff game was big for them, but no real surprises based off how that last few weeks shook out.
Now, if you guys will notice from the graphic on the screen, one thing to touch on is Lindenwood, Harding, and UIndy do not have a seed. That was something new for the Division II football playoff this year, where the 5 through 7 seeds just played whatever team that they were closest to. In this instance, with UCM getting a home game, that was Harding for the Bearcats. When you look at Northwest's side of the bracket with Ouachita Baptist, Lindenwood, Northwest, and Harding, what do you expect from that side?
Well, I'd say that Northwest is probably going to get the win against Harding, if I'm being honest. Harding is kind of a middle-of-the-pack team. And last time Northwest played, it did not go well for Harding. And then Lindenwood, just based off what I saw from them last year in the MIAA, I'd say Ouachita Baptist will probably get that win. I'd hate to take both favorites, but that's just kind of how I see that playing out. And then obviously Northwest would travel to Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and play Ouachita in that second round if they are able to move past Harding.
And another thing to keep in mind is that Ouachita Baptist, the Tigers starting quarterback, got injured in, I believe, week 10. He'll have 3 weeks of rest before they would potentially take on the Bearcats. But just really quickly, when you look at this side of the bracket with Ferris State, the 1 seed getting the bye, UCM and UIndy, who do you think is going to come out that side?
Given that UIndy lost to Lindenwood earlier in this season, and with Central playing how they are, I'd say Central probably takes that win at home. Obviously, Ferris gets the bye, but I don't see the Mules moving past Ferris State. They've been one of the best teams in Division II for a long time, kind of similar to Northwest in that regard. So I would say that it's Ferris coming out of this side, and either Northwest or Ouachita. I think take your pick. It really just depends on how this offense plays. We saw last week versus UCM, Northwest had their best offensive performance in a while, if not all season. So I think it could be just kind of a coin flip there, but I guess we'll have to find out. And
just to correct myself, that was actually Ferris State's quarterback got injured in week 9. He'll have 3 weeks, including the bye, to kind of ready himself. But yeah, I think I got to agree with you. If I look at this, I think we're going to get a Ferris State, Central Missouri, Northwest, and Ouachita Baptist. I hate to take all the favorites, but but I think that's what it comes down to. I think the Bearcats go to Arkadelphia, Arkansas next week. But that is going to be your Super Region 3 initial playoff breakdown for the first round of the playoffs for Northwest. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure to stick around. We've got more Northwest sports on Bearcat Update. You're watching KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. The volleyball team hit a few ups and downs last weekend. On Friday, the team took on number 3 in the nation, Washburn, and fell in 3 sets. On Saturday, the team came out strong and swept Emporia State in 3 clean sets. A 20-8 overall record was good enough to give the Cats the number 4 seed in the MIAA tournament, where they'll take on first-round opponent Missouri Western on Thursday. Our reporter Sydney Garner caught up with Coach Amy Worth to get her thoughts on the season so far and what her team needs to do to be successful in the tournament. Sydney.
The Northwest volleyball team has fought throughout the season to claim their spot in the MIAA tournament. We spoke with head coach Amy Worth to see what their goals are entering the tournament.
Well, I mean, the first goal is to get past the first round, and we haven't done that since I've been, coaching our team. So it's just really being able to put together a match that we feel like is going to get us past that first round and be consistent. So being able to be really in the 4th seed allows us to play the 5th seed, and we did that last year and didn't have a good result, and so it's going to give us another shot to be able to be the higher seed and go in and play the 5th seed.
Middle hitter Rachel Sturdivant and setter Maddie Aarons have big hearts for their team.
I think we all just have this goal in mind. Like, we want to do it for the seniors. Like, we want to do it for our team. Like, we definitely want to play for each other.
My personal goal is just to give to my teammates as much as I can. On or off the court, I want to be just serving my team and allowing them to be in the best position that they can possibly be to be successful.
Not only do the girls want to win, but they all share the same passion for the team.
I just think from the standpoint of trusting our abilities. We've worked really hard. We're great volleyball players. We've already had success in this season. And just from the standpoint of me, it's just go in, trust yourself, and have fun, and just get after it and know you're going to give everything and let the result be the result.
The regular season may be over, but the girls will continue to work hard and push through that first round. For Bearcat Update, I'm Sydney Garner.
Thanks, Sydney. The men's cross-country team will be headed to Sacramento, California this weekend to compete in the NCAA National Championships. The men placed second as a team at the regional meet behind MIAA foe Missouri Southern, and that was more than enough to send the Cats to California. The women's basketball team came up big when they took on Kansas Christian last Wednesday. The Cats dropped a whopping 90 points against the Falcons. Kylie Coleman led the team with 18 points on the night as she was 4 for 8 from beyond the arc. She was followed closely by Zoe Hayward, who scored 17 points and shot 60% from the field. On Sunday, Northwest unfortunately fell to Maryville University 68-57. Jalen Haggard led the Cats with 16 points, followed closely by Kendi Eaton, who scored 12. Speaking of Eaton, our reporter Nolan Brooks sat down with Eaton and head coach Austin Meyer about the major impact she's had on the women's basketball program. Nolan.
Kendi Eaton is off to another fast start this season for Bearcat women's basketball. With over 15 points per game, she's leading the team. I caught up with Eaton on why the season has started so well.
I think that we're just another year under Coach Meyer's coaching staff, doing the way he wants it, and I think that we know everything that he expects from us, and I just think that because of that, we're a lot better off as a team, in a better place than we were a lot last year.
With Eaton in her senior year, she's filling a leadership role that head coach Austin Meyer and his staff know is not your typical leader. Eaton has adapted into a role model.
Yeah, we talked to her about just her type of leadership, and she's not a real vocal kid, but she works as hard as anybody, and teammates see that. So it's more of a lead by example with her, and she's a very unselfish kid too. Obviously she's putting up good numbers right now, but there's going to be games where teams really try to take her away, and other people are going to step up, and she'll be the first to drive and kick when she gets overplayed, things like that. But she's just playing at a really high level right now.
Eaton and the team also have a large load of non-conference games in the next couple of weeks, but Eaton and the team still only have one goal in mind for the competition that awaits them.
Just get better as a team. Just get better and get prepared for the MIAA. Obviously, it's like one of the toughest conferences. So I think just getting those non-conference games to start to help us kind of build up to those big games is going to be really big for us.
Reporting for Bearcat Update, I'm Nolan Brooks.
Thanks, Nolan. The women's team now sits at 2-2 on the season and will play their next game in Bearcat Arena against Nebraska Christian on Thursday. Playing their first home game of the season, the men's basketball team came out big, dropping 92 points on the night. This win set the MIAA win streak record of 43. The Cats took on St. Mary, Kansas, and left it all on the court. Everyone on the Northwest team got on the board, scoring at least 5 points, but were led by sophomore Diego Bernard, who showed how important he's going to be in the team, dropping 20 points, followed by senior Ryan Hawkins, who scored 19 points. The Cats will play again Thursday after the women's game, where they will take on William Jewell and hope to extend their new win streak record. That's all the Northwest sports coverage we have for now. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Bearcat Update. You can follow us on Twitter at BearcatUpdate_8 or watch all of our previous episodes on YouTube at KNWT8. Thanks for watching and have a great night. How we doing, guys? Make sure to check out last week's episode of Bearcat Update up here, and for all of our previous episodes, click down here. Check them out.